just so well liked because he was so flamboyant as a rider that everybody loved him because he just kept the throttle open.
And a character. We've got to have characters in the racing, and I think everybody in this room's got a favourite rider. Who was your favourite? Who was the best you saw?
Oh, the best I saw? Rossi, without a doubt. Yeah, no question. To win 125, 250, 500, 990 MotoGP, 800 MotoGP. Yeah, he clearly is a standout. I mean, I don't think you'll be able to write a book on motorcycling for the next 100 years that won't mention Valentino Rossi and Giacomo Agostini.
Yeah.
But, you know, Mick never got the opportunity to try the 125 or the 250.
No.
The Australians never had that opportunity. But you asked me my favourite rider. I never saw him ride, but I read a lot about Bill Ivey, and I think he was a great character. And talking to Jack Finlay years ago, it was interesting to hear some of the stories.
So after Mick Doolan, you went with Valentino?
Yeah, after Mick's accident in '99, Honda scurried around to sign the next rider, and it was clear that Rossi was, you know, he won the 250 world title in that year, and we got him. Originally we were going to, in that year I actually ended my tenure with Honda for a very short period of time because I was going to go and work for Mick Doolan, who was going to run a big team run with Shell Money. Yeah, but with Shell Money, which never eventuated. And the boys who had decided to jump with me, you know, got a bit panicky, and I said, don't worry, they've still got Valentino Rossi and they haven't got any mechanics to run him. So we'll be alright, just trust me.
Because Valentino will be on a brilliant.
Yeah. So anyway, sure enough, the phone call came from Japan. The money was less. I'm going, what? You know, I just left 2 months ago. Anyway, we worked everything out, and we had a very interesting year because we couldn't be in the works team, which was sponsored by Repsol, because Repsol wanted a Spanish rider, which was Courier.
Because it was all the money that had been spent.
So 5 guys built a team from zero. We had a rider, nothing else. We had a little stretcher garage, and it was the best 2 years of our lives because it was just us.
What sort of budget would we be talking about?
Well, we had factory bikes, but we weren't allowed to have factory bikes, so you know there's all sorts of things, clandestine things going on there. Budget-wise, I think Honda would have bankrolled most of it.
Because you were doing Michelin tyres and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
everything else.
So it was massive at that time.
And yeah, we were able to finish second in the world, beating all of the guys, you know, Okada and Juvenile and Breville, who did win the championship in '99. But in 2000 we were able to finish in front of them. Robert beat us for the championship on Suzuki. And that was the start of it all, you know, and another 14 years, 7 championships. Great.
So you were at Honda, you jumped ship to Yamaha.
Yeah. Best thing I ever did. No, Honda is fantastic, no question, but what I realised is that I did have something to contribute, and I probably should have changed teams more or less every 8 years. You know, I think, you know, that in the 21 years I was there, I probably should have gone to Yamaha earlier or gone to Suzuki when I had an opportunity to go back there with Kevin Schwantz, which I pushed Stuart Shenton into that job and he won the championship.
Gary Taylor.
Gary Taylor, Stuart Shenton was up at Honda. Gary Taylor approached me, I've still got the letters at home, to do the job, and I said no.
Did you get on with Gary Taylor?
I understand how Gary Taylor works.
Okay.
He was the manager that said trust me. So you had to know him and there's been a few like that I've worked with, so you really just have to have your wits about you. Yeah, went to Yamaha and you know, the thing about Yamaha compared to Honda was that, you know, Honda had this culture of winning and the engineers had no culture of losing because they'd all come into winning teams after Spencer, after Gardner, after Dewey, and they didn't know how to win. They just walked into it, and then suddenly they were up against Rossi and Yamaha, and they went through a horror streak that they never thought they would ever go through. It took a lot of reorganising at Honda to get back on top, but in the meantime, we developed the M1 from a pretty nasty bike to a very, very good bike.
Did you make it more like a Honda?
Yamaha people had some very good parts. Their clutch was better than the Honda clutch. There was a lot of things that were better. They had everything they needed. They just didn't have a belief that they could win. When Valentino first rode the bike in Japan in the January of 2004, we weren't allowed to test it the year before like everybody else. Honda had a firm on the contract. He did about 8 laps, and he came in and he said to me, "It's not as bad as I expected." But he would have been watching that bike for a full season in the other races or in the practices and just sort of working it out because he is that sort of clever thinking guy. He doesn't do anything without a good reason. And he came in and he made a couple of comments to me. He said, "I'm locking the brakes." And I said, "Oh, that's great." And he looked at me kind of strange as the engineering group did. He said, "Why is that?" And I said, "Because that's the only piece on this motorcycle that's on a Honda. It's a Brembo 320 carbon brake, and we never locked the brake on the Honda. So the centre of gravity of this bike's too low." So we lifted it up 20 millimetres, and he said, "That's better, that's great, that's fine." The Japanese lengthened the swing arm, keep all the pieces in the same spot. We got rid of the slides for the butterfly and changed it to a butterfly, and away we went. And it was from there on, and 2005 was even better. So, you know, they just needed the assistance to get started, and Valentino brought that.
And you obviously got all the feedback with him, because you've worked with Valentino longer than anybody else.
Yes. No, he was good. I think coming from a 125, he brought a lot of small detail to the bigger bikes, which you didn't get from Mick Doohan or Wayne Gardner. You know, but you got it from Valentino. You know, he would have his feet up on the foot pegs at the faster circuits, whereas Mick and Wayne would have the flippers out like this, and you'd have to say, hey, mate, you know, just get them up there and hop them on because you pick up another 2 or 3K. You know, just little things like that. But Valentino, from riding 125, was always aware of how critical pressure on the helmet was, these sorts of things, buffeting, anything like that. He would really be on the ball.
Because I've watched Levi all your career, but you started on 125.
Yeah, and exactly like Jeremy's saying, I think it's good starting on the smaller bikes, and I stayed on them for about 4 years. And there were other kids moving up to 600s, and they were saying, why do you still ride 125s for? Like, why, you know, it's not a competitive
But you still look nicely tucked in. You still have that style.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is I think I bought that to the 600s, and so when I first got on the 600, it took me a little while to adapt because I was so used to the 125, but then I was able to, you know, take it maybe a step further than what I could have if I'd got on the 600 earlier on. Having all those, you know, maybe that more finesse of controlling the bike and things like that, you know, because you know that if you're 500 revs down in the corner, you're going to lose 2 seconds a lap on a 125, and the same as the helmets and things like that. Goes as far as the classics. That's why I ride with Jerry on the classic bike, is because he saw me on 125s and he said, that's the sort of style you need on the classic bikes. You need to be smooth and you need to be accurate all the time. And the new bike he's building for me, he's cut out a bit in the tank so that I can get my head lower, because I said,
So you turned into Billy Horsman.
yeah, from the photo, the helmet is flat, I can get my arms and my legs tucked in like a 125, but my helmet is above the screen, and I said, you know, that's going to be causing pressure, so the new tank we've got makes my head lower into the tank, so yeah, it should be a good thing.
Because all the riders on, you know, in the Grand Prix situation, they're all. Danny Pedrosa is tiny.
49 kilograms.
Yeah. He's tiny.
Correct motorcycle runners on.
But you know, you get something like Kevin Swanson. It's everybody's a tiny bit, and all the styles are different, and you can't change their style.
No, I mean the Valentino when he was younger, you know, we could have two bikes set up completely different, and he would say, yeah, I can ride it, but I have to ride it in a different way. So that time was still good. But that's something that's become more difficult for him to accept changes on the bike, more in the style of Jorge Lorenzo, who doesn't have a lot of weight on the front tyre and brakes in a different way. Valentino's style was always to be hard on the brakes for a short time.
He was like a gangly lad all over the top of the
bike. Very quickly, and whereas Lorenzo loads the front in a different way. So the development of the Yamaha has basically been steered by Lorenzo in the last few years because he is the guy doing the winning, and we took our little hiatus off to Ducati for a while. So we lost momentum.
Why didn't that work?
Well, it hadn't been working for a number of years. You saw how few results Casey, as good as Casey is, was getting, and you saw how good he was on the Honda immediately that he got on it.
Yes.
In 2007, the people at Ducati were wonderful people, took the whiteboard and said, okay, 800 cc's, we can make this much power, we're going to have to chill the fuel, we've got all this electronic componentry that Ferrari is helping us with, blah, 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 this is what we can do. The Japanese, on the other hand, who clearly talked together, didn't want to introduce another 25 or 30 people into the equation with the electronics. They wanted to bring that in a more progressive way. So Ducati stole the march in 2007. You know, they really did a good job. But a year later, the Japanese had caught up, and Valentino won again in 2008, 2009.
What about the whinging about the Bridgestone tyres?
The Michelin was certainly not the tyre to be on in 2006, 2007.
Do you think control tyre is the way to go?
I don't think a control tyre is good, or control is good for anything. For me, I think we need to embrace as many technical partners as we can. With the technical partners comes more money. Also, these companies need to be able to go out and show to the world their product is good. At the end of this year, Bridgestone will advertise MotoGP World Champions. So what? Who else? Who are they up against? To me, if a company like Michelin is allowed to come back in, you still have control. You have two compounds and you have a limited number of tyres.
But there was the talk back in the 500 days that there'd be Clement Ferrand on the phone at sort of 5 o'clock on Saturday afternoon, can you make us 3 pairs of tyres? And
no, that was happening because it was cheaper for Claremont to make a tyre overnight than it was to bring a barrage of tyres that were all wrong. This hurt us and cost us a championship in 2006 because the track condition continually changes, and when they find that the tyre's not working well, you're not in a position to adjust the motorcycle because they're bringing you another tyre in the morning which they want tried on the same bike. And in Portugal that year when Elias beat us by a tenth of a second or whatever, they were the points we needed to win the championship. We were on a rock hard tyre and Elias was on the softest tyre out there. He didn't have the liberty of tyre selection to be made overnight. And
he was on the tyre that they turned up on Thursday morning.
And even the Michelin boss said to me, he said, I can't understand why we need such a hard tyre. But off they went and made it. But that's just one instance where I didn't think it was right because you can't work with the motorcycle. And now with the system we have where we get allocation on Thursday, you can. But I still feel there's enough room there to let Dunlop and any company that wants to build tyres to come in, provided the quantities are the same for each group and you limit it to 2 compounds. I think it would really, really assist some of the teams at the back. And as we saw with Bridgestone when they first came, riders we've never heard of winning races were winning Grand Prix, Tomato. And this was where Ducati were very clever also. They could see that in order to keep their program going, they needed to win some Grand Prix. 1 or 2 a year may have been enough at that stage. So they swung over to Bridgestone.
But Casey had that marvellous year.
And had Casey as well, and Caparossi.
And nobody else would ride that. When you guys went there, it made Casey look even better, didn't it?
Absolutely.
Because you were the guru and you got the rider.
In the end, you could put it down to the fact that, and as I said, and you may laugh, you may cry, I just said the Italians are, they've got to get out of the workshop and get back in the kitchen where they're good.
There's quite a few Ducati owners.
I'm a law member of Ducati. But yeah, I mean, they've been battling on for years now, and nothing really changing. That Cal Crutchlow is going to ride the bike next year. They're expecting miracles from the riders, but a second away, or 7/10 of a second is down the back these days.
Fourth row.
And in one lap, maybe.
So what are they missing?
Basically, Warren Willing's been working with them for a year on the chassis development. It's the engine character. They built a motorcycle, as you and I would have as 16-year-olds, by going to the catalogue and getting all the go-fast bits, and then putting it all together, like an American. Fundamentally, to build a racing motorcycle, you must start with a motorcycle. Everything has to be developed in tandem, in a linear way. The Ducati has an engine that just needs far more crankshaft mass than it's got. It makes fantastic horsepower, but even the electronics guys say, don't expect me to control the power with the electronics. We can't. But it just needs a more fundamental engine. And you'll see in their superbike how they've gone away from what was a very good tractable engine. Now they're in a disastrous situation because they changed the bore and they did all sorts of things. They messed up, and they'll go back for sure because they had a very good bike. And their street bikes are fantastic, 42,000 units they sold per year with it.
So we're talking engines now. When we got the bike that Valentino rode this year, horsepower, we don't want to know what the number of horsepowers are.
Yes, we do.
Very rarely you can use it all,
Yeah.
only in the higher gears. But you see many places where Alex Espargaro on a CRT bike, in some of the twistier circuits where you only need
Big factor in the
80, 90, 100, 150 horsepower, he was as fast as us, so he had a 300 bike and that was it.
But we're in a situation where there's a limited fuel amount that you can carry on the bike.
Yeah.
So you can get more horsepower if you can get more fuel in.
Yes, and you can make more horsepower if you're not dragging 70 kilos, you're only dragging 49. So when you add up all the parameters, in all fairness, at some point in time there has to be a gross driving bike to get a fuel. Well, it would because.
But in the 125,
Yeah, I mean, they brought the 125 up to 130 all up. I think the racing there has been good, and I haven't had anyone complain.
No, absolutely.
In the Moto2 this year, they had an adjustment of the weight, and you saw Scott Redding able